So welcome everyone to Blockchain News Conference NFT session today. We are giving other 5 minutes for other attendees to join. Thank you. So welcome everybody to another session of Blockchain News Conference 2021. We are very happy to have all of you joining us today. My name is Stefania and I'm BerChain Association Manager and your host for today. Today's event, Blockchain News Conference NFT session, is focusing on NFTs and will be tackling several prominent use cases, looking deeply into the transformative impact of rare digital items. The presentations of the use cases will be followed by a panel discussion with a set of selected experts. Tomorrow we will continue with another session on blockchain integration in the public administration sector. And Friday, December 3rd, we'll have a last session on sustainability and blockchain. Today's event will be recorded and will be available on our BerChain YouTube channel and will also be posted on our social media channels. And I'll provide you with a few links along the way. Now I will quickly guide you through the agenda for today and our speakers. So we start actually at 4:10 with an introduction keynote titled Collective Berlin, how NFTs can empower collaborations for the creative industry by Daud Zulfacar, Collective Berlin, and also License Rock. Welcome, Daud. Daud is hello. Daud is actually an important figure in the Berlin blockchain community and greatly contributing solutions to the Berlin creative digital industry. He will be also moderating the panel at the end of the session, and we are very glad to have you here. We'll continue around 4:20, 4:25 with a use case presentation from Keyko, presented by Cintia Aguiar Pinto. Cintia is building arts and tech projects for Keyko Labs, and she's currently leading the Dark Room, a space for Web3 experimentation with audio files and innovative arts. And she was also actually among the organizers of the first NFT festival in Europe. So actually, I'm looking forward to hearing more about your experience. Cintia, welcome. We'll continue actually with another use case presentation around 4:35 with Star Atlas, presented by Michael Wagner. Michael is the CEO of Star Atlas, which is a space-themed video game Metaverse. And I'm looking forward to hearing more about this journey with Star Atlas and more about the potential actually of blockchain-enabled gaming. Then we have also the last use case presentation at 4:45 from TZ Connect, presented by Yantina Dirksen. Yantina is the director of the TZ Connect hub in Berlin. TZ Connect is focusing on Tesos protocol and is freshly established hub and bursting with new creative digital projects involving also the metaverse. So welcome, Yantina. And at the end of the session, actually, we will have a panel discussion. So with our speakers, Jantine, Michael, Cintia, and will be moderated by Daud, and also Claudio Weck, co-founder and CTO at Fanzone, a collectible NFTs for sports fan platform, will also join us as a panelist. So welcome, Claudio. Claudio's background is also as a smart contract architect and former blockchain PO, actually at Porsche Digital, before starting his journey with Fanzone. So I'm also looking forward to hear more from him. And during the last minutes, like the 10 minutes of the panel, we'll be answering a few questions from the audience, and you can drop your questions in the Q&A function in the Q&A chat during the event. So I actually be looking forward to the questions of the audience and also the opinions and the answers from the speakers, definitely about current NFT challenges and also state of the art. And so here we can actually see like a recap of the speakers of today and also the participants to the panel. So then now a few words about the organizers. We are organizing this event as BerChain. We are a nonprofit member-led association based in Berlin. Our goal is to promote and connect the local Berlin blockchain ecosystem. And for those interested, I'll be actually pasting a few links here on the chat function. And if you want to hear more about our activities. And as well, this event is brought to you by Berlin Partner for Business and Technology. Berlin Partner actually supports companies, investors, and as well scientific institutions in Berlin. And there are many experts actually provide an outstanding range of programs to help companies to launch, innovate, and expand as well the economic future of Berlin. So thank you so much to everyone, and welcome all. And I lend then the digital floor to Daud for the intro keynote.
Cool. So I need to have a way to share my screen, but that looks good. You see it right now, right?
Yeah, perfect.
So first of all, thanks a lot for organizing everything. I know if you organize an event like that, it looks easy, but in the back there's tons of stuff that one needs to do. And everyone who was involved, thanks for setting all that up for all of us, because it's gonna be beneficial for us and also for the ecosystem overall. And now we'll head to my presentation about the Collective Berlin. So the Collective Berlin is our latest project that we initiated from License Rocks, but we are planning to onboard like tons of people from different spaces there and show the possibilities what NFTs or decentralized technology overall can do for such an amazing landscape that we have of creatives here in Berlin. And we're tackling especially the markets art and music and the combination of that. And where we are coming from, I mean, our name, License Rocks, stands for, we always thought that licensing is going to be the killer application for decentralized technologies. Back then, when we first came up with the idea, we got here and there like a few weird views on our assumption, but right now, due to the NFT hype, everyone is talking about royalties and about license use cases, and it's like a given fact that decentralized technologies are a nice application for licensing. So we also had the big chance to be in the second batch of the Berlin Startup Scholarship, which gave us some funding, and we were with the Freie Universität, we could do some research and came up with our first MVP. And we started because we believe if you need to build licensing systems, you need to know the domain itself. We started in the software space and sold used software. And we also did, besides of that, but we did a couple of NFT projects around corporates or with corporates with paid POCs, where we used, for instance, NFT as access possibilities for smart machines, or even NGOs and organizations where we said we can use an NFT to meter, for instance, your social impact. And in 2020, the German government was so nice when the COVID started to kind of tell everyone, hold on a second, my daughter just came. To tell all the corporates that they don't have to declare anymore if they are going into insolvency. And that's where we got our used software from. So our market kind of was broken. And as a startup founder, like, what do you do there? You pivot. And we always thought about that we want to anyways embrace all kinds of digital products and also later physical products with licensing issues. So we said we are going back to the whiteboard, and we built like a whole product suite around that, which is really versatile and can be white labeled for different use cases, because we think at the moment it's still, you have to experiment a little bit what will be nice NFT use cases. And by mid this year, we came up like with a new idea, what I will talk about, which is being called the Collective Berlin. So because we were looking at different industries, I was doing tons of interviews, and there were two segments where I said that would be a perfect fit for NFT use cases. On the one side, we have music, and on the other side, we have art. Why is that perfect? If you look at the music industry, you see that rise of streaming platforms. Just think about Deezer, Apple Music, Spotify. I mean, there are tons of them out there. But what you probably don't know is how much a musician gets out of that. And per song played, you are getting 0.001 cent or up to 0.006 cent if you are signed with a major. So even the distribution within these platforms is not really fair and transparent for everyone. And the sense of revenue I told you has to be split among all the right holders. So you can imagine how much plays a musician needs to make his living out of that. Plus, the whole market is dominated by major record labels. There are no live gigs for musicians because of Corona, so no extra income. And there's a high dependencies on these different streaming platforms or distribution platforms, labels, and publishers. On the other hand, if you look at the art market, like there are limited exhibitions because of Corona. And also when we did those interviews with a lot of people from the art space, which are in the physical art space, they had problems figuring out like how decentralized technologies can help them, what they can do with it, and how they can transform from being a physical artist and becoming a digital artist, and what does it mean for their copyrights and also for their ownership. And also them have like a high dependencies on galleries, on the right network to find the buyers, and on pre-financing art fairs because the big money is made for artwork. And we want to solve that. And how are we going to solve that? First of all, the first thing we need to do is we need to educate musicians and artists on the possibilities they have with NFTs. We started with that, and I think we reached now over 300 people from that space where we did workshops, one-on-one tutorials, and also went to events and stuff like that since almost half a year now, and got valuable insights of what people really want in that space. What we want to do is we want to empower like full creativity, and we want to take like everyone on the journey of building together NFTs, and that's why we mix music with art and tech. And why do we do that? I mean, if you think about an NFT, there's always a visual component of an NFT, and that visual component is what I like to call a digital canvas. And that digital canvas could be like a video illustration, a 3D model, you name it. It can be anything, yeah, that could be created by an artist. And then if an artist would do that with a music piece, then you already would have like a collaborative or a co-created NFT. And in our solution, we can offer as many splits as we want to. So whenever an NFT is getting sold, then each of these right owners or contributors is getting their fair share. And everyone is talking about mass adoption, but if you think about mass adoption, then you also have to think about UX. And we all know we're a little bit longer in that space, that it's really cumbersome to use the one or other dApp. So UX is king or slash queen. And we really worked on that. And besides that, if you think about creatives, there are two things that they probably would be a barrier for them as well. And one thing is the legal side, and the other side is the taxes, which is also really complicated in the crypto world. And for that, we already achieved to win first experts out of the tax and the legal side. So what also musicians and also artists need to understand, like the fans are the really key to everything. If you think about a musician or a fan of a musician, they don't really care under which label they are signed. They just care about the music. So if you would drop as a musician someone, for instance, a fan token, so what do? You create a direct distribution or marketing channel to these fans, and these tokens are detectable. So what you can do right now, you could airdrop them something like, and with that, you can build up like fan to artist and artist to fan revenue streams, and also new ways how you can embrace that whole space. And you could even think about NFTs as a new financial instrument, So think about an artist that comes up with an idea and tells you you can buy into NFTs, and these NFTs represent a future license rights of these NFTs. And when you buy into that, uh, let's say you're selling 100 NFTs, then all of a sudden you have 100 people who are even incentivized on a monetary basis that you as a musician are really successful. So you kind of crowdsource your marketeers for your music, and you're working with a super crew of promoters out there. And also you can think of like when someone is holding your fan token, you can give him special incentives, and these incentives could be discount vouchers, like special events, or some access to exclusive content, or something that is being dropped directly from the artist, or what I mentioned before, even license revenues that you would get in the future. So what we want to achieve with that whole project is that we start getting people to collaborate and later co-own the whole system. So we have different steps what we think is the right approach to do. And we are currently in step one. And step one is like the whole education part and taking the hands of artists and musicians and just showing them how they can co-create in a collaborative way NFTs, and also bringing together like the right what I call seed crew, which is meant like you need people from the technology side, you need people from the tech side, legal side, also people who probably want to fund the whole thing, and then you need the musician and artist, and also probably people who are representing these interest groups. As a second step, what we want to do is we want to drop down, and we designed beer NFTs because beer stands for Berlin. And we want to drop them to the seed crew because they have been putting a lot of work into the basement that we need for a successful community. And we want to establish together with them the token economics for the whole system in the future. And then we're gonna build up a DAO, and in that DAO we're gonna have like a token model for the governance. So that means you can vote on different decisions, and these are the decisions for the overall solution. So you can say if we prioritize whether this or that feature, or if we're going to the left or to the right, or if we keep on working that way. And then we want to talk with the BaFin, because for us it's really important that we are having a legally sound system in the back. And what we want to achieve is that everyone who's participating is also getting tokens, and these tokens should represent ownership in the overall solution. But for that, that's going to be a security token for sure, and it's promising something that you get in the future. For that, you need to talk with the BaFin, and we know how long that takes and what kind of funding is needed for that. So we're working with someone who came up with the only two right now BaFin approved legalized NFT market places here in Germany, and he's consulting us how we approach them. And once we have that, we're gonna drop these NFTs, and then hopefully, if everything works out in the way we want it, you can enjoy your passive or / active income streams, and active if you're still collaborating or creating things. And then you start smiling, hopefully all day long. And why we think this will work? I mean, if we look at the overall market, it's expanding and expanding. But the thing is, like we said in the beginning, when we look just at the art market, we think it will crash. Yeah, because what people don't get right now is there's a lot of artificial pumps. Yeah, and it's really easy to pump up prices of art pieces. But whenever you want to sell it, then you will see if there's real liquidity or not. And we think it still takes some time, but then the one or other person will realize that they paid way too much and they can't resell it. But on the other hand, we see so many people coming into that space with so many new ideas, and we are getting approached more and more with different ideas that we even haven't thought of. So it was everything from tokenizing your dog up to now, to the licensing wheat strains, up to going into the porn business where people approached us up to now. And it was always after that people drop, which happened in March this year. So if we think about licensing overall, it's a massive growing market worldwide, and it's just starting to get in touch with NFTs. And we're in the second largest um, region of the world. And if you look at US and Canada, that's 3 times more from its licensing volume, what we have here in whole Europe or in whole Western Europe. And if we think now about what will happen in the future, and if we think about metaverses, and if we look what Nike is already doing, I mean, we will live in the future in a fully digital world. Yeah. And in these fully digital worlds, what is important there? Important will be that you can show that you own something. Yeah. And if you are showing someone that you own something in the digital world, then that's an NFT use case. On the other hand, you will have tons of new business opportunities. And a lot of these business opportunities will be based on micropayments or on just staking an NFT or whatever. But it will be small payments where the traditional payment providers won't be the right solution for it. So that's going to be crypto payments. So if you take crypto payment and NFTs and the metaverse and the digitalization of our society, then you can see how that will play out. And metaverse is going to be huge. I mean, Second Life, we all still know that it failed. It was just at the wrong timing. But right now, we even can encourage people to have a piece of ownership in there. If you think about metaverses, for instance, there's always land that is sold, and built on that land are buildings and assets, and they can generate new businesses within the metaverse. So it's a totally new world that we are looking at. And we believe that NFTs and crypto payments are the key for it to work. And what is our vision and how this all will play out? I mean, I kind of stated already what is really important for it, but also there's another thing that we have to think of. Like, if we think about record labels or also about galleries, they're doing a lot of pre-financing. If that can be solved and it's regulatory sound, and you can gain ownership in these future things or future projects, then I think that's going to be big. And if you see it from a musician perspective, I mean, beforehand they would sign with a label. Label would be distribution, would do distribution, marketing, and also the pre-financing. And right now, what a musician can do is they could do it by themselves. And the beauty of it is they can choose the different service providers, and they can see who's really suited to their needs and who they get along with. So it's not anymore that you have to sign there and you're under contract for 3 years, but it's like you're independent and you can decide what you want to do. So we want to have that DAO that should govern and give you a co-ownership in that whole system. We want to build up like a creative ecosystem which doesn't consist only out of creatives, but around all the different interest groups you need to create such an ecosystem. And we want to have like a digital license collective. So that means we want to really leave a digital footprint and show that Berlin, with its creatives and the whole industry we have here from the decentralized space, can build something like that that can be used internationally and is based on common and fair values. And a big part of that, what we want to achieve is we want to educate people. And we think if you do a project like that, and if you keep on reporting about every single steps or all the steps you're doing, that could be a wonderful blueprint for politicians, other policymakers, or even startups or artists and musicians who are looking at that space. And we are missing that. That's why we think it would be beneficial for everyone. And if you like all that, what you heard so far, then feel free to scan the QR code. It leads you to a type form. There you can say if you want to participate somehow in that and how you want to participate. And I will get back to you or one of my colleagues, and then we can talk about it and see what the future of NFTs will bring us in Berlin and for our creative landscape. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Daud, for the amazing presentation keynote. And now I think we have Cintia presenting the next use case presentation. Actually, the first one. Cintia?
Hello.
Hello.
All right, so I'm just going to share my screen. Hello, everyone. Okay, all good?
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. All right, hi everyone, my name is Cintia. I'm a project manager at Keyko. Today I'll be speaking of what has been Keyko doing with NFTs and creatives and how we have been supporting creatives. First of all, who is Keyko or what is Keyko? Keyko is a Web3 powerhouse with a mission of building unstoppable ecosystems for the fair and transparent decentralized future. We are a Swiss-based technology company that does deliver Web3 solutions. We have around more than 35 team members spread across the globe. We have been working with different well-known projects, successfully helped launching 5 ecosystems, Ocean Protocol, Celo, Filecoin, Banker, and Near. We have been also enlarging our Keyko group with ventures that have been a spin-off specifically for certain purposes. One of them is Nevermind, another one is Chikai in joint venture with Near, Kura, which is our internal Keyko fund, and Humanity Cash. We consider ourselves a Swiss knife of Web3 services. We are fire-tested veterans with a lot of expertise in big data, blockchain, digital ecosystem adoption, community engagement, governance inversion, DevOps, and SecOps. We focus a lot on advisory, on improved governance and implement decentralized and compliant networks. We are experts on digital ecosystem governance and planning, data compliance and regulation, incentives and gamification, token design and engineering, validator empowerment and blockchain audits. We do have as well internal products that we have been developing with the goal of filling the gap between Web 2 and Web 3. One of them is Nevermind, which is the world's first enterprise-grade data interoperability platform. And the other one is Dojo, which is a company governance tool that we use to democratize our internal and collective decisions. Going a bit deeper into Nevermind, because it's one of the main tools we use as well for our NFT initiatives. Nevermind is a solution designed to be integrated in big data environments, allows to monetize data without migration, provides data sharing ecosystems that enable trust between parties that might not necessarily trust each other to share data, allows to execute algorithms without moving the data, and offers as well a data marketplace that facilitates the interaction with the data ecosystem. Recently, we have also added publishing capabilities into Nevermind so that is able to register and consume assets through decentralized storage, as well while offering decentralized access control using multiple networks. It is deployed in the majority of the networks that we work with, being Near, Celo, Polygon, and he also offers file storage as the user chooses. So it can be in the cloud, IPFS, or Filecoin. Our dojo, it's actually where we learn internally our domain and share our knowledge. Some say is actually where we eat our own dog food. In reality, dojo is part of our Keyko culture. We have 3 core values: honesty, pioneering, and dedication. And the ultimate goal of our dojo is to support the progress of all of our sensei. We have a virtual space that materializes our dojo. It looks like this and can be visited, for example, to stake your Celo tokens into our Celo validator and earn rewards. We also recently launched an internal governance system that seeks to track and reward the progress of our sensei to different attributions, being shares, fund investments, or swag or perks. We also in the end of last year, we also started to develop other type of initiatives focused on NFTs. It happened when we came across with a local organization, a non-profit cultural organization here in Lisbon that was struggling quite a lot with the gentrification and not being able to fix their project in one place. It's made of a big community of traditional artists. This place is called Arroz Studios, on which we started to have some onboarding sessions to teach to teach these non-crypto native artists on how to use NFTs and how to progress in their career making use of this decentralized technology. In this journey, we actually institutionalized within Keyko a unit that is specifically dedicated into NFTs, impact, and DeFi, which is called Keyko Labs, to which I'm actually part of, more specifically within Keyko. Who we are Keyko's incubation lab. We deliver community-centric prototypes, look beyond the boundaries, and strive to empower communities. Our main drivers are decentralized finance for self-sustaining, creatives for boundary pushing, and impact and prosperity for social good, fair, and wealth distribution. So we lie in the middle of these three bubbles. How do we do this? Well, we continuously hear the voice of community, understand what are the struggles that can be solved with Web3 technologies, and draft together a manifesto that resonates to a common vision. We design prototypes that are purposeful for the case, and create fair distribution and governance systems that are adapted to the community feedback whenever needed. This is our Keyko ecosystem, so we generally always use Nevermind, not only to show its capabilities, but actually to enlarge these capabilities of this huge tool that we created. And then we have Keyko Labs as research and prototyping, working directly with communities, and then we have Keyko focusing on capabilities and services and companies and DAOs. On Keyko Labs, we really focused on NFTs and DeFi, offering leadership and guidance through economics expertise, consulting what's the best blockchain technology and best blockchain solutions that can serve the case, empowering communities with NFTs, and onboarding non-crypto natives into the space. So at a glance, what have we been working on since we started this journey? We created, as Stefania was saying, we mentioned on the introduction, we supported the first European NFT festival with electronic music acts from all over the world. This journey started by getting to know Arroz Studios, where we, after creating this onboarding and having all these artists interested in learning about NFTs, we actually realized that one of the main questions was, what can I do with an NFT? Well, we really wanted people to be able to experience this and to have the notion that NFTs go beyond the traditional buy and sell market and go beyond even the screen of your laptop. So we started to ideate about having a physical exhibition around NFTs and digital art. Because of the COVID, actually the first edition that we did of Rare Effect was purely digital, only on the Metaverse and Crypto Voxels, where we exhibited around 50 artists and had a long 10-day program of musical electronic streams coming from all over the world as well. And later on in May, with the ease of the restrictions, we actually managed to create what we wanted, which was a hybrid festival with a physical manifestation here in Lisbon at the Arroz Studios, a 10-day festival with a digital twin on the Metaverse. Here on the physical manifestation was very interesting because we actually got to experiment NFTs as in a different use case of just purely inviting artists to mint their NFTs and sell them on the markets, but actually invite the guests to understand how an NFT can be experienced in their house, what is VR, experiment with VR, AR, learn a bit as well about artificial intelligence and generative artworks. So in this second edition, we really invited the local community to collaborate with each other, and the most beautiful pieces came through. Being, for example, someone that wanted to create wanted to be a fortune teller physically at the event, ended up collaborating with a generative artist to create a generative oracle that was just replying to people's questions through GTP3 language, which is very, very interesting. And we saw a lot of very innovative artworks coming up. I'm just going to put this quick video, playing, because it's actually this is the after movie of Rare Effect. As you can see, this was really made by the local community of Bahosh. Everyone put their hands on. It was a long production process. We have, for example, Burst with an AR piece as well there, digital twins with the physical sculptures, and also with the GIF on NFT. We created a portal as well, where people from attending the event would actually meet people on the Metaverse through this 360 Zoom tool called Arium Space. It has been progressing a lot. Which actually enables audio and video. So through a container in the local space, we managed to have people meeting on the Metaverse. It was really an interesting experience. A lot of musical acts as well, coming from UK, Ransom Notes, participating as well. Moshka, DJ came and visited. A lot of VR headsets presenting not only VR spaces created by artists, artistically created by artists, but also inviting people to experience with VR Google Tiltbush. Okay, so this is this is one use case as well that we wanted to present. Some of the artworks that were presented at the festival by artists from all over the world as well, that replied both to the local open call in Lisbon, but also to international open call that we were just sharing across the space. Other use case that we have also been working on is Autonomies, which is an NFT marketplace for audio files. Specifically focusing on electronic music at the moment. This is something that was created by being challenged by the current music industry limitations that go around from limited or inaccessible physical release models, on which vinyl manufacturing has been seeing an increase on price and extended waiting times as well as the lack of value for digital streaming and a non-actually revenue model into digital releases. So with Autonomies, we seek to normalize NFTs for artists and labels to create scarcity, exclusivity, simplicity into audio files. We offer individual royalty splits, instant payments, anything that an NFT marketplace would offer, except that this is powered by Nevermind. We really look into empower creatives with tools for self-agency in order for them to release music NFTs. It features as well a collector, artist, and label dashboard, creating a use case for all the actors of the industry, music industry, through Autonomies. The darkroom is that you actually also mentioned, Stephanie, is an additional space to Autonomies that is going to explore cross-pollination of music and arts, and with the final intention of bringing artists and fans closer together. I don't have information of it here, but hopefully you will hear from it soon. Another use case that is also last but not least very important was the VitaDAO, also powered by Nevermind. VitaDAO was actually allowed together with Nevermind to have the first biopharma IP to NFT transfer deployed by Nevermind solution. So for the first time in history, non fungible tokens were actually used to transfer intellectual property ownership in medical research. By applying Web3 technology, we enabled researchers to get access to an open marketplace that makes novel research and IP discoverable and universally fundable, as well as distributes ownership. Yep. So I think this is the 3 use cases that I would like to mention. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much, Cintia, for the insights on the latest NFT use cases you're bringing forward with Keyko, especially the autonomies and the rare effect. Very, very nice. Then I guess we can continue with our next speaker, Michael Wagner from Star Atlas. Michael, are you here?
I am. Good morning from Miami and good evening, Berlin.
Good morning, Miami. Yeah, and good evening, Berlin. So the digital floor is yours.
Fantastic. Thank you. So I'm Michael Wagner. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Star Atlas. I don't really have so much of a presentation today as much as just wanted to take you through a little journey of what we've been building at Star Atlas. Star Atlas is a grand strategy, space exploration, massively multiplayer online game and metaverse, utilizing bleeding edge technology like Unreal Engine 5 as our environment engine and building on Solana as our layer 1 protocol and Web3 toolkit. What I really wanted to discuss today was kind of those 2 facets of our products. So the first is blockchain gaming and play to earn, and the second is Metaverse. And I really just want to draw a distinction between the 2 because I do believe they've been conflated a bit recently. And so, there's really a pretty significant difference there. So starting with maybe just a preface to the conversation, I'd like to use the metaphor of the Metaverse being essentially an amusement park or theme park. And within that theme park, there are many different experiences that people can participate in, activities that people can participate in. Blockchain gaming, in particular, is one such experience. So that might be the rides in the theme park, but there are also, venues to go eat. You can view a show. You can relax and lounge around. Those are essentially the potential experiences that the metaverse will bring and the opportunities that will exist in the metaverse in the future. Whereas the blockchain gaming component itself is really just one of those attractions. So in Star Atlas, we are pretty comparable to something like an EVE Online or maybe more recently a Star Citizen, with the exception of naturally we're building everything on chain, including our game logic on chain. And so, that includes assets like NFTs and crypto native tokens, and as well as the integration of many different DeFi components and protocols. So insurance protocols, lending protocols, and then of course, kind of the native applications like AMMs and liquidity pools. So in Star Atlas, delivering the true ownership economy to the players, through the NFT process is really what enables them to financially benefit, economically benefit from participation in our ecosystem. In traditional games, the primary driver of value is entertainment and escapism, and there's substantial value there. People like to get outside of reality for a period of time and escape into a video game and have a good time. One of our primary emphases is ensuring that we deliver the highest quality gaming experience that a person can participate in. We believe that the blockchain gaming, or just gaming in general, is going to lead to this mass migration of new users into the cryptocurrency ecosystem, and will also lead to potentially the first billion users that we see across the Star Atlas metaverse. And kind of one additional comment I would add here is that I think we really need to start considering these metaverses as public utilities and sovereign states of sort. Essentially foreign countries through blockchain mechanisms like governance tokens and NFTs and ownership. You're actually democratizing the evolution of a product over time. And so in the case of Star Atlas, that's utilizing a token like Polis, which enables the stakeholders, the governors, to make decisions that impact what the metaverse will look like in the future. So not only economic decisions, things like inflation rates or asset release schedules, but also being able to submit proposals and request specific features be developed, or even to the extent where the DAO itself can employ a new game development studio to come in and actually build out various features or extensions of the metaverse. So we're very excited about what's going on in our development cycle. We are developing on 2 concurrent tracks, the first of which is a mini game concept that's in browser. That's here at play.staratlas.com. This is where we initially launched our NFT marketplace with all of our ships and crews and components. Land will be coming soon. Ability to look through your inventory. And I think what's really unique and novel about the way that we developed this out is that the entire marketplace itself is built on a decentralized exchange. So we immediately empower the players to transact and trade on a peer-to-peer basis with one another through the marketplaces that we have created. The second track that we're building on and the extended track is really that Unreal Engine development. Traditional games will take anywhere from 5 to 7 years to complete their development cycle in these fully immersive worlds. We are releasing on a more iterative schedule wherein we'll be publishing modules over time. The first of which is something that we call the Showroom Module, wherein the user will be able to enter into the fully immersive 3D environment, view various ships, walk through those ships, explore explore this beautiful environment, send those ships out on missions, and continue to explore the universe that is Star Atlas. So then getting into kind of the second use case, and what we see as really the longer term or longer tail opportunity, is the metaverse itself. The metaverse, as I said, does not consist simply of gaming. Gaming is one of the attractions, and it will be a major attraction. It will attract many people to blockchain, to crypto, to explore this play to earn concept. But going into the future, models around social interaction, human interaction, are going to be incredibly prevalent. And I think that this is one of the reasons why Facebook, has taken this drastic measure to rebrand to Meta. They understand how disruptive this future digital environment will be on things like social media, on things like commerce, on shopping experiences, and also just hanging out with other people. So, building out our version of that is to build kind of mini verses or little worlds and empower people to create their own experiences, associate that and attach that to Star Atlas, and present that to the user base that is playing in Star Atlas, the game. Going beyond that, also see big opportunities in things like education. So learn to earn is probably going to be something in the future, right? Giving people an opportunity to educate themselves, empower themselves, and better themselves, and find a way to get compensated for that or motivated to do that through the various financial mechanisms that are available in Star Atlas. So that's, honestly, in a nutshell, really all that I wanted to discuss with everyone today. Happy to take a question or two if you have them.
Thank you, Michael, and great presentation and introducing us to Star Atlas. And I would like now to invite attendees to actually drop the questions also for Michael on the Q&A function. So we will actually answer those at the end, towards the end of the session, if you don't mind. And now I would like to welcome on the digital floor, Yantina Dirksen from TZ Connect. Jantine, are you here?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Let me try to share my screen. I think that's the way forward for the presentation, right?
Yeah.
Let me see. Okay. Let me see if, can you all see this?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, well, you can see. This is not an NFT. Thank you for inviting me here to speak about the topic of NFTs, and I will drop as well, not some NFTs, but some of the other hype words that are around in our ecosystem at the moment. But yeah, let me just start to explain a little bit what I'm doing here and what I'm going to present at this moment. So actually, I am leading one of the companies here in Berlin that is focusing upon Web3 development, and specifically we focus upon the Tezos ecosystem. Just very short for people that do not know what is Tezos. Tezos is a protocol, a blockchain protocol, proof of stake. So it's very eco-friendly. It has, of course, many use cases for which one of them is as well NFTs, since we also have a token standard that support NFTs. We are here in Berlin now almost 2 years. And actually what we are focusing upon here in Berlin is having a supportive function towards anyone that wants to build upon Tezos. It's an open source public blockchain. So we really want to advance this whole public blockchain industry forward. We are a team here that is there to support. But we also really want to be present here in Berlin as a center for people to get informed about what Web3 more in general is all about. But for that, I will come a bit back later in this presentation. First, I was thinking, let's just focus a little bit on the topic of NFTs. I mean, it really suddenly became a big topic in the past months. Well, actually, the standard itself is there already since a few years, since we all know. However, I think this is super good that this hype actually really came into existence, because that actually just means that the real world is interacting with the token standard. And I think everyone in the blockchain world, we know we built all of these castles in our mind, what we could build with blockchain, but it's actually really great as soon as people are going to interact with it. And so in the Tezos world, what we saw is that, or what you can see in the Tezos world is that actually the first use case for NFT was being captured by the artists. And, it's usually the case, right? New technologies are being discovered by the curious minded. And that's what they say about artists, right? That they like to explore. And what happened is that there was an art marketplace on Tezos. There were several, but one of them, Hic et Nunc, really got adopted by artists all over the world. There were over 500,000 NFTs minted there. And you could just see this explosive creativity combined and empowered by blockchain technology. Now, when we are talking then about use cases, I can show you all the art marketplaces out there, but I mean, that's also going to be outdated maybe already tomorrow, because like I said before, it's an open source ecosystem. We invite everyone to build upon on top of it. I was thinking maybe better to show what is happening at the moment. So what is also really nice, I would say, is that like the old industry, so when we're talking, for example, about Art Basel, is actually also now embracing this whole new phenomenon. So one thing that is happening like tomorrow and the day after tomorrow is that in Miami Beach, Art Basel Miami Beach, we will actually present these 3D artists that were minting their NFTs. We will have chats about it. We will explore what it actually means, because of course, the other thing I think also what I saw in the presentations earlier is this is just the beginning, right? There's this token standard and the artists pick it up, but a lot of future things would be possible if we maybe change the standards, if we talk with them, if we interact with them, and well, that's actually the other thing that I think is very important, is that we also realize it's like all a conversation. So we have technologists, but actually the other thing is that we have a real world that we actually say, or we actually want to make use of it, but that's not because we are going to impose them some smart contracts. So this is at the moment happening in Art Basel. But like I said before, we are based in Berlin. And therefore, I also would like to show you another of the hype words that I already heard here before, the metaverse. I mean, they're hype words with a reason. Like, we all see actually this further digitalization coming. And we are all building all of these standards in order to build this new digital world. And I think the metaverse is like the new word that we use in order to, you know, give a name to this new world. And I'm very happy actually that we in the blockchain ecosystem are picking this up, because we have all been seeing Mark Zuckerberg presenting his new vision, but I think we are all working towards this like more open Web3 empowered metaverse. Yeah, so what we're doing here in Berlin, we're going to have an event around this, as you can see here on my screen, or on your screen in this case. That will be the 10th to the 12th of December. We will see how hybrid it will be. It's if we cannot be here in the physical space that we have, which is pretty big, and we can actually, oh, I see my light is turning off. 1 second, please. I'm still in the real world. So where was I? Yeah, so we will have this event the 10th till the 12th of December. And we have a big physical space. We also really will take all the corona measurements in mind. However, if it's not possible, we will just host it digitally. We might set up a metaverse, who knows. But in general, what I wanted to say is that here in Berlin, we're building up a space around Web3 in order to explore with communities what is actually the next step that we should take. So it's really a hub around exploring the possibilities of tomorrow. So we are starting with an event. We do a digital hackathon as well. So if there are hackers in the audience, please have a look at dspace.berlin. We will focus upon the digital me. We will focus upon gaming. All of these wording that I'm using, I saw there's so much overlap with the previous speakers, and I think it's just great. We're all working into the same direction. And then also what we are going to do here in Berlin is saying, okay, we would like to select some of the promising industries just to work together with. And one of them, that is a program that we actually are kicking off today. This is Web3 focusing upon the arts and cultural industry. So what we are doing now is that we're kicking off just with a weekly conversation, because like what I said before is that when we talk, for example, about the topic of NFTs, I cannot now present you the ideal use case. It would also be a bit arrogant for me to say, I know exactly what the culture and arts needs. So what we actually want to do first is just to have this weekly calls where we talk with people from the industry, and we just listen to each other, and we just figure out, okay, are there pain points there? Are there opportunities here? What do we see in the tech? What do we see in the arts and cultures themselves? And from that, we actually will open a program, which is the beginning of 2022, where actually we will do more focused workshops. And then in the end, also do a small hackathon where we create proof of concepts around the needs of the art and cultural industry. So whether that will be implementing the NFT standard in another way, or maybe completely a different, like we heard a lot as well about DAOs, we don't know yet. This is actually the thing that I'm also trying to say. It's all very explorative what we want to do here in Berlin. And I also invite everyone that is interested in the arts and cultures just to follow this weekly call that we're actually doing. That being said, we are going to open this space in Berlin. It's called this space. It is not an NFT. We will definitely talk about NFTs. It's going to be launched hopefully in January. We will see how COVID will allow us. But if you want to be already having a sneak peek, like I said before, the 10th till the 12th, we are open. And yeah, and I think just the main message that I want to say is I do not have a fixed use case here for NFTs, because actually what we're trying to say is that we would like to explore all possible routes by engaging with people and communities. And then, yeah, we can maybe co-create together a new standard, or maybe actually just build upon the NFT standard as it is there. But yeah, that's something like I wanted to say. That's actually the route that we try to take here as TC Connect and as DSpace Berlin. So thank you for giving me the time to introduce a little bit this new space.
Thank you, Jantine, for your presentation, and I'm sure we'll be visiting this space soon. And now I would like to invite Daud, ready for the panel, and all our speakers, and also Claudio Weck, that is just joining us for the panel. Hi, Claudio.
Hello, everyone.
So thanks to you all, and yeah, I'll stay here, but let's definitely get into the panel discussion. Thank you.
So now you can hear me, right?
Yeah.
So I prepared a few questions for our panel discussion, but we can see how it goes. And we're also open to questions from the audience. So if there's coming a question to the chat, maybe you just read them out, Stefania, and you can stop me at any time.
Yeah, we can also have 5 minutes towards the end. I can bring up questions. We already have a few from the audience, so let me know when you want me to read them out loud for you. Thank you.
You can decide. You're the ruler of that session. I'm just a moderator. So one thing I would love to see is we heard now about various use cases, and I believe, I might be wrong, but I believe I heard right now that Star Atlas is building on Solana. Then we heard for sure that Jantine is working on Tezos, and then Claudio is working on Luxo, I'm not 100% sure what Keyko is working on. I think on Ethereum or Near Protocol, or both even. And I was just wondering if I can ask each of you why you decided to take that chain. Was there anything behind it? And I would love to start with Claudio, because Claudio was the only one who didn't have the time to talk up to now. So it would be your turn. Why did you decide to go with Luxo?
Yeah, hi, I'm Claudio. I'm all too into the technology of blockchain. Since 4 years, I'm running around checking out various layer 1 technologies. So first, yeah, we really love the Ethereum developer community, very open source, very great community. On the other side, mainnet is too expensive, too slow. So an Ethereum 2.0 blockchain was for us basically the way to go. We also really like the standardization. And with Luxo, there's coming several things beside the fully Ethereum compatibility together. On the one side, it's for consumer goods, so it's right in the area where we are with gamified NFTs for sports fans. It's really, really decentral, like tens of thousands validated nodes will come. It's still in a better network. But also on top of that layer, there are various standards for building on top. So each NFT is not in a wallet like MetaMask or so, but on a smart contract. So there's a lot of things coming together which enable a system which, yeah, we believe is more user-friendly. Yeah, and right now we also want our users, like we just started in June with the NFTs for the German national teams after a pilot in 2019 with the Tag Heuer Porsche Formula E team. But we started now with roughly 40,000 users registered, many people active. And right now, yeah, we're also looking into other solution with maybe a multi-chain solution for having a way for cash out before the Luxo mainnet comes.
Cool. Cintia, since I don't know if you're building on Near Protocol or Ethereum or on both, can you tell us what drove you to that decision to build on either both of these protocols or on one of them?
Sure. So at Keyko, we're really chain agnostic. We do work with protocols that we believe in. So this is the first triage we make, and then the use of the network, the choice of the network that we do for each of the projects. It really depends on each of the case. So, for example, for Autonomy's marketplace, given that is a project that is really focused on the music case and the music files and the music artists, much more than actually the NFT technology or NFT collectors. We really want the music collectors to go and have frictionless use of this platform. We are going with Polygon, for example. But on the case of the dark room, which is a little bit more focusing on crypto collectors and the Web3 native space, is going to be on Ethereum. So, whereas, for example, in Rare Effect, part of the process of onboarding and inviting artists to mint their NFTs was not partially, it was actually fully supported by us. In the first edition, we, because we had the support of Mintbase that was at the moment on Ethereum, at the time on Ethereum, we did all the process of onboarding the artists and minting their NFTs, covering the costs of Ethereum gas fees into Mintbase Ethereum. Whereas on the second edition, because there was this bigger concern about environmental impact, we actually just gave the option to the artists to choose where they wanted to mint. We onboarded with all the possibilities that existed, explained the differences of each one of them, specifically on the proof of stake and proof of work case. And then the artists were fully free to choose whatever they want to mint. And I think this is actually this was actually a super nice decision that we had, and we really saw the motivation of the artists having this possibility of choosing where they want to mint if it's in whatever marketplace or network that they choose. So in our case, it really goes depending on the use case. We just find the more suitable and that resonates more with the case.
Just out of a personal interest, if you gave like people an option to select and there were 3 different chains, did you do some statistics what artist would select, or?
I mean, I do feel that there is artists are more inclined to choose proof of stake options. Of course, there's always this collector factor that the majority of big collectors are still on Ethereum, but artists are fully focused on environmental concerns and don't want to take the risk of choosing something as proof of work as Ethereum. So we just see a huge tendency for proof of stake more than really specifically a network. But we do see at the moment a lot of artists using Near, specifically here in Lisbon, because also Near has been doing a lot of creative funding for the local communities, and they are doing an amazing job. So Near is actually one of the main protocols that has been chosen by the creatives here in Lisbon. And then, well, Polygon, because it has it's EVM fully compliant, and in our use case, in our case, it really makes our life easier to work with. Never mind. Okay,
cool. So you mentioned something like best of breed technology that you're using, Michael, if I rephrase that right, what you stated, and you're building on Solana. So why did you choose Solana?
Yeah, quite a bit went into the decision to utilize Solana as our layer 1. First and foremost, we needed to ensure that we could deliver scalable tech going into the future, given our ambition of onboarding not only tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, but honestly, potentially billions of users onto the network. And so in assessing Solana, their transaction throughput was greater than 65,000 transactions per second, very low transaction costs at sub 1 penny. And really one of the parts that was kind of very important to us was the sub-second finality. So it's 400 milliseconds on state changes to the network. This is very important if you're developing a gaming application, and in particular, a gaming application like ours, wherein we're not necessarily utilizing the engine itself for the processing of all the logic. We're building out game logic and gameplay mechanics directly on chain. So in the launch of our, kind of the immediate feature that's coming up for us in December, which is a feature we call Score, ship commissions on remote expeditions. That is 100% a smart contract that deals with resource management across 4 different resources and determines kind of the return or the reward for the player based on the contract, based on the code. So scalability was super important. We assessed the team behind it. They come from a great pedigree of tech companies working with entities like Qualcomm, where they worked on parallelization of hardware applications and infrastructure. So creating a network that would continuously be scalable as the network grows and not really capped in the near term. Beyond that, though, we also saw a pretty significant opportunity in joining an ecosystem that was still in its earliest stages. So we started having conversations with the team at Solana back in August of 2020. There were maybe 20 applications on the network at the time. And we saw that there could be a very symbiotic relationship between us, wherein we could leverage their existing network and user base to bootstrap the growth of our community. But at the same time, they understood and appreciated that we could bring this mass migration of users not only into crypto, but directly to Solana. As a result of that, they were very willing to promote and support us in the earliest stages, not only with documentation and tech support, but also with marketing, comms, and press releases. And then kind of a final component of it was, because we have such a major emphasis on the integration of DeFi throughout the metaverse and the gaming ecosystem, it was important for us to go after a protocol that was specifically targeting innovation and development surrounding that. And we've seen this massive growth. There's probably more than 600 projects now across the Solana ecosystem. I would bet 80% of those, if not greater, are in DeFi. And why is that important? Well, we would never be able to develop out all of the features and protocols independently and still deliver this product in a reasonable amount of time. So we get to leverage the benefit of all of the development and innovation that's going on across Solana. And some of the use cases that I mentioned are things like insurance. And why would you need insurance on ships? Well, within Star Atlas, we have multiple security zones. And one of those is a high risk zone wherein losing an engagement actually means the permanent destruction of your NFT. It gets burned off chain. So it's a high risk, high reward environment, but players are able to mitigate some of that risk through the purchase of insurance products, decentralized insurance products on chain. And then, additionally, the ability to lend out assets creates a real sharing economy within Star Atlas. Players that own ships, or not even players, but entities that purchase ships with no intention of actually utilizing them or playing with them themselves, have the ability to lend those out to other players, empower them to play when they might not be able to purchase one of the ships. And again, creating a mutually beneficial relationship wherein a user now has an opportunity to engage in the game, earn some revenue, and a portion of that gets shared or kind of profit shared with the person that is lending out the asset. And we've seen massive venture capital groups come into Star Atlas, purchase portfolios, again, not with the intention of being operators or guilds or gamers at all, but because they see the potential of that residual income off of the lending of their portfolio of assets. So, quite a bit went into the decision. And in hindsight, I genuinely believe it was one of the best decisions we've made.
Okay, cool. So, Jantine, would it be fair to say that what you're offering is also coming from a layer 1 perspective, that you would also offer, like what you pointed out, like help if anyone is having questions, maybe even grants, and being like a promotional innovation app for Tezos in Berlin? Would that be a nice description of what you do, or would you disagree?
Partly, yes, I think that is true. On the other hand, I just think, like what I also hear, like what Cintia said, that I think if you have a use case or if you want to explore, of course, you always need to have a look whether the protocol that you choose, if it's a good fit. So I wouldn't say always use like Tezos, for example, only if it would fit your need. And like what I said before, it's a proof of stake network. So of course, if you like for the environmental impact, it's something if you care deeply about that, that's a reason, for example, to go for proof of stake. Like there are many reasons, right, that you can have a look at different platforms. But I think also what Michael identified is that if you want to build upon a blockchain at the moment, blockchain technology, it is something new with like a scarce group of developers. So you probably need some support. So the whole reason why we have been setting up this entity, TC Connect, and why we are also going to have this whole community space here is to deliver this support to projects that are interested in the power of blockchain technology. And what I think what you first need to do is when you want to build upon blockchain is to find like the right fit. Do I want proof of work? Do I want proof of stake? Is the community that is there, is that interesting to me? Like what I said before, we had the art market platform that just had like the Hic et Nunc that attracted so many artists. So of course that became as well some kind of avalanche, not referring to the other protocol, of people joining. And then of course there are many reasons why you would like to join. But I think what is the most important is if you can find the support within the ecosystem of people informing you and helping you. And that is actually the reason why the Tezos Foundation also realized, okay, it is good actually to have several hubs all over the world to support people building upon the blockchain. So yeah, in that sense, it's true that if people come to us, we can actually help them identify whether it makes sense to do a grant application. We can also guide them with this. But on the other hand, we also just really want to be a hub just focusing on Web3 in general, because I do not think that like at this moment, the only people that we should onboard are the people that already know what kind of application they want to build. I think there is just so much more needed in like conversations and explorations that maybe the people you do not expect at this moment will be very relevant for our blockchain, will be very relevant in 6 months, just because we engage in this conversation. So yes, on the one hand, we will, empower people by offering them pathways to enter the Tezos ecosystem. On the other hand, we also just really see the benefit in just promoting and educating and going into conversation about Web3 in general. So I think we are also one step just before this whole like putting people or connecting people towards the protocol. I think we really would like to engage in the conversation beforehand and create. And also I think this is another opportunity, I think, for Berlin. Like from my experience, I've now seen that a lot of people moved from Berlin to Lisbon that were very deep in the crypto ecosystem. And I have a feeling that was based upon the favorable tax regulations there. However, I do feel that here in Berlin, there's this fantastic potential by Berlin having such a like critical ecosystem of people that think about counterculture, that think about what is possible beyond what is now there in this world, that we can create all together here in the open source ecosystem, this fantastic community that we all start to think what can be the new future. And then, yes, then you have all of these different protocols that you can build upon. And with us, you will get support for Tezos, that's for sure. But I think in general, we need to have this conversation first about what will be possible. So, yeah.
Yeah, I totally get that. And thanks for that. And Stefania, she's going to post a few questions from the audience right now so that we don't miss them due to our time. So go ahead, Stefania. What kind of questions were there?
In this very interesting conversation, actually. But we do have like a few questions from the attendees. And I would say the first would be from Cam. What do the panelists think of asset-backed NFTs? And do any of them have consulting experience on the idea?
I can hop in for a comment on that. Obviously not really a direct focus of ours, but thinking kind of broadly about NFTs and more generally about blockchain, it really just represents provenance, so proof of history. right? And in the case of most cryptographic tokens or cryptocurrencies, that is ownership of, the spendable currency. With NFTs, it's tracking the ownership, but also associating it with various metadata. So whether that's art or, in our case, game assets, or really any, and it doesn't have to necessarily be a digital asset. I do think that there's utility in a use case wherein you can tie tangible property into NFT assets, if you will, or cryptographic assets. And I think one of the probably immediate opportunities there would be in the case of something like real estate, right? So let's ditch the legacy archaic methods of tracing ownership through title and record that information on chain. So to kind of shortly answer the question, yes, I do believe that you can tie tangible assets to NFTs and represent that change in ownership over time.
Yeah. For us, in an application where we rather focus on sports NFTs, we do have also some connections between physical assets and digital one. For example, you can imagine as a sports fan, you go to an event and later you get the NFT of your favorite moment in the game. Yeah, so it's not the high scale asset like owning your whole house, but there's always a connection between the physical and digital world. Yeah, in theory, I believe Daud is very deep into it as a moderator of the panel into the licensing of asset-backed assets, because it's a fully licensed topic, yeah, full on with regulation of each legal law, like which country would you apply?
Was that a question to me where I would apply for what a startup right now?
Yes, yeah.
I believe we stay in Germany, and I believe not in going to another country, because it doesn't make sense, to be honest, because then your customer base can't be in another country where probably national laws apply. I think that whole moving stuff because of regulations is something that I don't really understand, and I think we rather should work on the regulatory part in Germany than moving somewhere else. That's just my opinion, but I think there are tons of use cases out there where NFTs back assets. And what we did with selling used software, I mean, software is also an asset, and the NFT was just representing that. And if you think about the term digital twins, a token can represent anything physical. The only problem is there, if it's something physical, you sometimes need a validator role in between that proves that the person who's giving out the NFT is really belonging, or the owner, or entitled to issue that NFT. So it's another complexity layer that is added there, but yeah, it works. Hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
Anyone else who wants to say something to that? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe due to time, we can also get another question more, which would be probably like the last one, because we are really running out of minutes. Question to Daud from Ramiz. Do you envision revenue sharing with artists and musicians only when an NFT is minted? For example, the artist creates a new album and each copy of the album is sold as a new mintable NFT. Do you consider a revenue stream where such an NFT needs to be redistributed by, for example, radios, Spotify, etc.?
Yes, well, these are so-called, if I got it right, like the question, these are so-called sync licenses. So that's how you can use that music also in other mediums. And we're working on that. We also have like a prototype where we already implemented that. But from a regulatory point of view, it is always when an NFT grants you revenue that lays in the future, it's kind of a security token, and then you need a license for that. And in Germany, you need at least a banking license or a Haftungsdach to do secondary sale. And considering that might be already above an issue, or you have to be really careful with your wording and to have a good attorney who writes you some nice terms, then you might get around it. But yes, it's definitely something that we are looking at, but we always have to look at the regulatory side as well.
All right, thank you, Daud. And we reached our the end of actually this session. And unfortunately, I would like to thank all the speakers for having participated and presented their insightful use cases and to be part of this very interesting discussion. And I would like to remind everyone that actually, if you're interested tomorrow, we are continuing with another session of Blockchain News Conference 2021, sorry, already in the future. And I just pasted the link here, and it's going to be about public administration and blockchain integration. And I would like to thank you all the attendees for have joined and engaged. And I'll see you then tomorrow for the next episode. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you,
Thanks a
guys.
lot.
Thanks.
Take care. Bye-bye.